Welcome to One Life, the podcast where we embrace the journey of living fully and intentionally in every area of life. My name is Matt Farnham, and while I don't have it all figured out, I'm walking this journey with you, convinced we don't have to choose between a thriving career and thriving relationships, health, and purpose. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. And together we'll explore how to create work-life harmony, reject the lies of comparison, steward our gifts, and embrace the life God desires for all of us. Welcome to One Life. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the One Life podcast. So grateful for you taking some time to listen and being a part of our One Life community. Today is special. It's the first time I've actually had two guests on at once. It's a couple that's very dear to me, who inspires my wife and I, both in business and in marriage. Doug and Joan, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having us, Matt.
We appreciate you, Matt.
Yep, very much.
Super excited you guys are here. And just to introduce you real quick, they're the Sold Man team in Boise, Idaho. 30 years in business together as a couple, doing real estate together. 40 years of marriage. Praise the Lord for that. You guys are setting an example for so many of us, and I'm so grateful for that. And those are two big reasons why you're on this show with me today. But the real reason you're here is you guys really do just embody what One Life is all about. And that's the idea of having it all, that you can have the thriving business, which you guys have had and have, having the beautiful, healthy marriage, having a life full of meaning and purpose and relationships. You can do it all at once, and you guys embody that, and I'm grateful for the example, so that's why you're here today. So thanks again. So I want to just kind of set the stage with you guys. 40 years of marriage is so unique this day and age, especially in the real estate industry, unfortunately. What a lot of people listening might not know is that the divorce rate is actually quite a bit higher in the real estate space than average. And that's no surprise, right? We got the phone calls coming in all weekend long, during dinner, at the birthday party. It's just the world we live in. But before we get into all that, how did you guys, there was no dating apps 40 years ago, right? So how did you guys connect and meet? What's the origin story?
Oh, a good friend.
Mutual friend introduced you?
Both of our roommates started dating each other.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, so I asked him, I said, so does she know anybody? and he says, well, she's got a roommate and she's kind of dating this guy, but I don't know how serious they are. And I said, well, introduce her to me and she'll dump the guy in a couple of weeks.
Is that how it worked?
It really did. I was dating somebody, and it was longer than just a little bit. I'd been dating him for about a year. And Doug and I they had us go to a party together, and I think the very next day I broke up with the other guy. So.
My parents have a similar story.
Go ahead.
I said my parents have a similar story. I think the story was that they showed up at a party together, and they were each there with other people, and they met. 13 days later, my dad proposed, and then they got married 6 weeks later.
That's funny.
That sounds like your sister. Yeah. Her brother-in-law, or my brother-in-law in the church, saw this lady across the room and says, I'm going to marry her, all the way across the room right over there.
Yeah.
And he did, boy, quite quickly, as a matter of fact.
That's awesome.
We've been married 55 years.
Yeah.
Wow. So hey, 40
runs in the family a little bit.
I love it. So 40 years, guys, in marriage, and then 30 years in business together. So tell me how that started. So Doug, you started 32 years ago, I think, residential. Yep. Joan, you did commercial real estate as well. So how did you guys get started in the business?
So I actually started in real estate before Doug did. When we moved to Idaho from California, Doug actually opted to stay home with our daughter for a little while. She was 4 when we moved here, and I got a job as an office manager at a commercial real estate company. And Doug stayed home with Jamie for a couple of years, and then he wanted to get his real estate license here in Idaho, and the rest is history.
I had my license in California, but never really practiced it down there. Just sold my own properties and things down there. But coming up here, we took a little bit of time off, taking a different direction. It was the middle of winter. Wasn't sure what this snow thing was all about up here. Like I said, came out of the Bay Area in California.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was a great time to take a little time off, find the direction I want to go, and give me an opportunity to find a place where I really wanted to work. And that was the best part, was I was able and had an opportunity to interview with a number of different brokers here in town, and the broker that I ended up choosing has become a lifelong friend.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So when you started real estate, well, both of you guys, so it sounds like you had, and Sam was in the picture at this point as well?
Not quite.
No.
No, Joan was 3 months pregnant when I went to work. Of course,
Okay.
you know how that works. You got another kid coming, you got to go to work.
Right.
So,
That'll motivate you to sell some houses pretty quick.
so 6 months after I started real estate, we had our little Sam.
Okay. So you guys, you're getting into real estate very soon after. Joan, you're starting to lock arms with them in the residential side as well.
Yeah.
So those early years, balancing marriage, family, two young kids in the home, growing a business, that's a whole lot going on. What did those early years look like for you trying to, it's probably felt like the hamster wheel. So what do you remember about those years, and what could you share with our audience?
Well, I remember that when our kids were little bitty, and Doug was just getting started in real estate, and he was sitting open houses. He was connected with a man who became his lifelong mentor, and it was open houses every weekend. And in the beginning, it was very frustrating for me, because I had one in diapers and the other in kindergarten, and it was hard. And at one point, I remember thinking, if I'm going to spend any time with Doug or actually see him, I need to get into real estate as well.
And I needed the help. We were becoming very successful. I had a great mentor and got me started on the fast track really early. And so not only did my mentor help me out, but my broker, and then the owner also saw what we were doing and wanted to make sure that we were involved with his overall plan, which was real estate, doing subdivisions and builder teams and builder pools, and doing, basically mostly new construction. And I was pretty handy with stuff growing up, but I never really had a lot of experience in it. I mean, I took an architectural graphics class in school, but that was probably about I knew what a ridge beam was.
I don't.
But the difference between a ridge beam and a double plate. But anyway, I needed help, and we got going quick. And Joan, she was the controller for a communications company down in California. So I got the best person you could possibly ever have, just to be coming on board to help me do the things that we needed to do.
And Joan, when you first started, did you have help with the kids, or was it kind of a part-time thing to start, because you're also, full-time mom, it's also trying to help Doug in the business?
When we first started, I worked from home. We set up a little office in our bedroom, actually, and I worked from there, so I was able to keep an eye on the kids. And there came a point when I realized that I probably couldn't do all of it, and we did put Sam into daycare for about a week. And every time I dropped her off, she just screamed and wouldn't let me go. And to me, it wasn't worth it. It was like, I've got to figure out a way to make it work so that I can work at home and keep her happy. Because, those kids are, when they cry, when you drop them off at daycare, it tugs at mama's heart.
Oh, yeah.
We took the most logical step after that. We just brought them with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did a lot of business at the office where the kids were playing over in the corner, and the broker, they had kids, and it was something that, they weren't going out on appointments with us. I never really.
Yes, they were.
Well, it depended on who it was.
Sure.
For the most part, I wasn't doing open houses with them because I needed to concentrate on the process when we were holding those open and stuff. But
Yeah.
for the most part, we brought them with us.
I love that. I think that's awesome. I think most clients in my history, the last 21 years I've done this, if I've ever had to bring a kid to an appointment with me, as long as I'm setting expectation, I don't think I've ever had an uncomfortable situation where it
No,
at all hurt the relationship, the rapport, the transaction. So absolutely, one
they're better
life,
than
right?
the
Make it
dogs.
happen.
They're better than the dogs. We marketed with dogs for a long time, and everybody, love the animals, but they love the kids even better.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
our
awesome.
oldest
Well,
daughter got so good at showing houses that she can still like do that today. She could go on an appointment with us and show the house and show all the features and benefits.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
so
they're both
now,
pretty good salesmen.
so this will be a question probably more to kind of wrap us up, but I'm thinking of it right now when you think of legacy, right? But so you guys are now 30 years into the business together, 40 years of marriage. So Sam's away at college, right, in Nashville?
No, she actually finished college and she has her PhD. She's working at Vanderbilt University.
Oh, she's working at Vanderbilt. Oh,
Yes,
cool.
that's
Okay,
where
and
she
then
got her
Jamie,
first job. So she nailed it coming out of college. So
nice. Well, congratulations to some proud parents, I'm sure. And then, so Jamie's there in Boise with you. You have three
yes,
grandkids, right,
Yes.
Jamie? So being on the back end of this 30-year grind, right, raising kids, building the business, what's just quick perspective on that? Like now that you can kind of look back and exhale a little bit, what's that feel like?
Oh, it's amazing.
oh, it was quite a run. It
Yeah.
really was a lot of stuff going on. You know how many different directions this business can take you,
Mm-hmm.
physically, mentally, emotionally, all the different things that you can
Yeah.
you can get wrapped up into it. Actually, the kids kind of gave us a little bit of a, kind of kept us steady because we need to make sure that the things that we were doing were the right things for them too. So,
Yeah.
And I
Love
can I
that.
can say that it went by so fast.
oh,
People tell you that when you're younger. Appreciate the years when the kids are still in diapers and they're still toddlers. It
Yeah.
goes by fast, and when you're in the midst of it, you can't grasp that, but it goes by so fast.
and it just continues to accelerate. If I had anything to tell you, Matt, just and I know you do. You spend lots of time with your kids, and that's the best thing you can do. It's kind of like in Star Wars, when they jump into hyperspace. That's what life feels like. That's what it's going to feel like in about 30, 40 years for you, man.
Yeah, I'm already experiencing it, and I can only imagine it just does keep getting faster. We have, you know the saying, those were the good old days that everybody says. We actually have a really nice thing that we blew up in our living room that says, these are the good old days, just as an
Oh,
up
yeah.
and visual reminder, because some days it doesn't feel like it, right? So,
True that.
hey, I want to transition to really working as a couple, specifically in the real estate space. So, what have you guys learned about staying in your lanes and honoring each other's strengths? I'm sure that each of you are very versatile and can jump into anything you need to do. But have you found over the 30 years working together that there's really better strengths each of you have? And how do you guys kind of, have those boundaries or stay in your lane?
Well, we staying in our own lane. I'd say we transition lanes quite a bit. Like you
Yeah.
said, we have the ability to do different things. My skills are with people. I learned to read people really early in life, and have transitioned that into my real estate career. Joan is the technical savvy one that keeps me on track and keeps me going where I'm supposed to be going, and with the right mindset.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get a little emotional about stuff, and she grounds me and really makes me so much better than I could ever be on my own. So
Yeah.
that's
In
that's
life
that's
and
my
in business,
that's
I'm
my
sure.
that's my thought process as far as staying in your own lane. You hear about that, and sometimes you have to get out of your lane to pass, and you never know what's going to happen, but you have to do those things because you have to be a complete person. It's hard for you to rely on somebody to do something specific for you that you might really need to know how to do.
Yeah.
Well, how often do you guys? So I love the versatility there because I think that's some couples would find that they really just say, "Hey, this is my lane, stay out of it, let me do my thing," and some of them are able to ping off each other really healthy like that, which is great.
Yeah.
Are there times though that you've realized, hey, the sensitivity of saying, "Okay, I need to not step in on Doug or step in on Joan and kind of step on the toes," like how to stay hands off versus when to jump in and help? How do you discern when to kind of let it go and when to jump in and help?
Well, I can give you an example.
Okay.
Doug, for many years, when we first started our business, Doug was the one in the field. He was the one out selling, showing properties, taking listings, and I was the one running the back end. And we both did really well at that. We had built a really successful business from that. And then there came a point several years ago when Doug had a period of time where he was pretty ill and needed to back away from things. And our coach at the time said, Joan, it's your time to shine. It's your time to get out there and show the homes. I was scared to death. I had never shown, I hardly even knew how to open a door using the super key. It panicked me, it really did. And I remember the first time that I was out showing property by myself. And another thing, I have a terrible sense of direction. So this was before GPS. And I remember calling Doug, like, how do I get to this house? Can you please help me, map this out while I'm driving? But I got through it because we needed to. We needed to keep our income going. And so that was a time where, I could have backed away and said, I can't do this. But it had to happen. And now that's where I shine.
Yeah.
I love showing property. I love working with people.
She's a lot nicer to be out with than I am.
That's not true. I've been out with both you guys. It's very. What's fun is you take so much joy in the work that you do. For our audience out there, we were up doing an event together a while back, a little over a year ago now, I guess. But Leslie and I were kicking around the idea of getting a property up north of Boise in the mountains where my grandparents had a place growing up. And you would have thought, I paid you to go show homes, Doug, because you were so happy to go do it, and I didn't buy anything, and you're still just as happy. So
I love the mountains. I've always loved being out of the valley. Boise's it's really a high plains desert, but compared to everything around us, it's more like a valley because we're surrounded by mountains. And I love being up in the mountains. I love being like yesterday. I drove 3 hours to go pick up a sign. And it was rainy, and I was by myself, and it was glorious.
Yeah, lots of time to listen to the One Life podcast in the car. There you go.
That's right. Except there's no internet service where I'm at.
Oh, that's good. Sometimes the disconnect like that is definitely refreshing for sure.
Yeah.
So thanks for touching on you guys working as a couple. One thing that I also know about you guys is you very, very much have a relationship-based business. There's a quote that I love. I've said it many times on this podcast, but there's no rich like relationship rich. And I believe you two embody that really well in your marriage, in your business, everything I've ever seen or known about you. But when I say there's no rich like relationship rich, what does that mean to you guys when you hear that?
Oh, we have so many
Hundreds.
wonderful friends who started as clients. My very best friend that I've had for 25 years, she started out as a home seller that we were helping sell a home that she got a divorce, and we were the first people that she called, and my goodness, we've been through thick and thin together ever since. So we love on our clients. I don't know how else to describe it. We just love on them. And it shows, and they know it. It's just a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My best friend, he's my go-to lender. You met
Yeah.
Robert.
Yeah.
He's my best friend. We're out of the same part of the Bay Area. We took real estate school together. He was working at the same place where I went to work when I first started. He came from a real estate family, but he transitioned into lending over real estate, and we just have a great relationship. And some of the stuff that I like to do, he likes to do. A lot of my friends that I met in real estate, You know, they like to go, they like to do the fun things. They like to work on the cars. They like to, you know, do the barbecue. They love to do the chili cook-offs. They love to, you know, just to get together and socialize in the backyard and bring the families over and let the kids play. I mean, we've had a lot of kids play in our backyard. We've had a couple of weddings back there, just places, you know, because of the families and the people that we've known. And it's just been it's having those relationships. It's not just part of real estate. It's part of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you guys have blurred the lines so beautifully between business and just life when it comes to relationships. You mentioned your backyard. Anybody, when you get to Boise, you got to look up Doug and Joan and go see their backyard. It's absolutely amazing. But the way you've leveraged it intentionally too, to connect with clients, you know, we think about hospitality. You think of home, you think of food. And they say, you know, hey, a quick way to a woman's heart is good food, right? If you can good cook, but that might be a quick way to some clients' hearts too, right, Doug?
Oh, you better believe
Absolutely
it.
is.
So tell me about hosting events specifically at your home. Like, what do those look like? What are a couple examples that you've done in the past that's really helped build really strong relationships with your clients?
So we have a multitude of different events at our home. We have large parties. We had a party this summer where we had 150 people in our backyard, and Doug barbecued for them.
I cooked 70 pounds of tri-tip.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know, we have all of the things from the jump house to the squirt gun games to volleyball, all of that, because we are so fortunate that we have the yard that we do and we can host people there. So we have events like that, and then we have more intimate events. We're having one today where we're having 5 people come to our home for a little afternoon cocktail party, and it's, you know, that's more one-on-one time. When we have the large events, it's harder for us to spend quality time.
It's real
talking
hard.
to
That's one of the
people.
problems that we've struggled with. I mean, people have come to be quite fond of these gatherings when you have these big parties and music and all that kind of stuff going on, but it really doesn't bode well for having time to spend with a person and talk with them, because as soon as you talk with this person, then the next person walks up to you and you're already into the next conversation, then you're into the next conversation, then you're in the next conversation, and I like to spend more time than that.
Is it exhausting for you guys to have your home open all the time like that for people, or do you really still enjoy it this many years later?
You know, it is exhausting. One thing that it always does is it makes us have our property in tip-top shape. If you know my husband, and you do, Matt, you know he's a perfectionist about everything. So the yard is absolutely perfect for our events. And it is tiring and exhausting, but if we don't do it for a while, then we start missing it. And
So if the yard's looking rough, you just book an event and say, Doug, hey, you got to get the home ready. I like it.
Yeah,
So
I do have to mark off a day, pretty much an afternoon a week, just to keep the general maintenance up on it.
for me, that would be like a nice disconnect, an outlet to go work on your
It
yard
is.
like yours.
I've spent a lot of time on that lawnmower. And, you know, if I get on that lawnmower and I've got some issues going on in my head, something, a problem or situation I need to think about, it's a great time to think through it. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, so I got a random fun question for you, Doug. So you're definitely the barbecue guy. You have a reputation for that. If you were to use barbecuing for a metaphor for life, how could you make that a metaphor for life?
You've heard this one before, but I'll use it just because I thought of it. That's low and slow.
Well, I was thinking about it. I'm like, man, like slow, patient, process driven. It's all about the perfect timing, right?
Yeah,
Flavor,
timing,
right?
making sure you take the time to make it right. You know, there's you can throw a bunch of barbecue sauce on some chicken and call it barbecue, but that's really not barbecue.
Yeah. You know,
it's just pretend.
cooking really good barbecue in the time and patience it takes, right? That's not a very efficient, like a quick, fast, easy, efficient process, right?
No.
But it's very relatable to relationships. Like I had a mentor say, relationships are not efficient. You know, as entrepreneurs, realtors, we're always trying to go faster, stronger, more profitable, like more efficient, right? And we go to treat our relationships that way, and it just doesn't land because they take time, they take patience, they take, spice and flavor, and like, you know what I mean? So I just thought that was a fun question for you. So, hey guys, I want to transition to, faith, family, longevity specifically. As I said at the beginning of the conversation here, 40 years of marriage is amazing. And unfortunately, very rare this day and age that you hear that, specifically in the real estate space. As I said, what's been the glue above all else that you feel like has really held you guys together over the last 30 years in business, but more so 40 years of marriage?
I have two words, and that is respect and kindness. And though if you can achieve those two things in your marriage and stay true to them, I think that's where the longevity comes from.
It's beautiful. Doug, what would you say?
I'm the luckiest man that you could possibly ever imagine. She said yes, and it changed my whole life for the better, help, and brought me two beautiful children, a wonderful life, a work ethic. My gosh, a work ethic that's just amazing. I grew up with a bunch of hard workers, and Joan can stay right up there with every one of them, and just caring about and worried about how what she thinks. I worry about what she thinks. I want to make sure that she's happy and that we're thinking along the same lines. And so these two lines, Joan and Doug, we kind of parallel and we come right here.
Yeah.
And we follow those two lines.
Well, the two will become one, right? What about, and Joan, by the way, on a side note, if Doug's ever in hot water and he needs some brownie points, I could just share quite a few gratitude texts we've shared back and forth, and you're always in them, front and center. So he thinks the world of you. I know that to be true. What about faith specifically? Any faith or maybe even shared values specifically that you guys really shaped how you work and live together?
I didn't grow up with the church, but I always grew up believing in God. My mom and dad were not big churchgoers. I went to church a couple times with my grandma, which I really didn't get, because when you only go a couple of times, you don't understand it. But I was very fortunate enough, the mentor that my broker hooked me up with was not only a spiritual man, but I truly believe he had a direct connection with God. I mean, direct. And the things that he would say and tell me, he led me to the Lord. And actually, I went back and I got baptized, and then I started going to church with Joan. We went to church on occasion, but after that, it was a whole nother meaning. I actually went back. Joan's been part of the Catholic Church her whole life, and we found a Catholic church here where one of the deacons was really, considerate about my thoughts and everything and what I thought, and not knowing what to think. And he actually helped me, and so did Roger, who was my mentor, helped lead me to the Lord. And it was one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Yeah. Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
And what would you tell younger couples, guys? There's so many couples there's a lot of people getting into real estate right now the last few years. Some of them might be young married couples where they're probably going through the similar phase where one of them starts doing well and they debate, okay, should I get in the business too? For couples that are considering getting into business together, like you guys did, what would you tell them as they're making that consideration? What are some things that they should be aware of or mindful of as they make that decision?
Don't have an ego. And I know that's really hard to say,
Especially in our industry.
In the real estate world, is that egos, in my opinion, egos within a couple and within that relationship can destroy it. Because if one of you feels that you're a better agent or stronger than the other one, or that you want to be the one that shines, I think could be a very difficult position to put your marriage into. And so don't just let the ego go. And I think that's, even if you're not in a couple and you're a single real estate agent, let the ego go. It doesn't do you any good.
Every time I let my ego get out in front of me, I always get reminded that there's a reason why I try to keep it behind me.
Right. Well, earlier when you shared how well it seems that you guys do not necessarily have your own lanes, but you guys kind of cross-pollinate and just work off each other. That's why you're able to do that, because I think a lot of couples couldn't do that. And I'm not saying this shameful, but reality is there are a lot of egos in our business, and that is probably pretty difficult for a lot of couples to not be the face on the billboard or the name on the contract or fill in the blank, right? So, no, I think that's incredible advice, Joan.
Yeah.
Doug, anything
Well,
to add to that?
That's how we started our business, was
Yeah.
that Doug's name was in the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
And really, my name was not on any of the contracts. It wasn't on any of the advertising. And I was fine with that because I respected Doug. I knew what an amazing agent he was, how much he cared about people. So it never bothered me at all. And then when we joined and, we both started doing what we're doing, I still feel the same way. If he were to say today, you know what, I kind of want you to back out of the picture, I'd be like, go for it, whatever works. That ego is just, it's dangerous, I think.
Yeah.
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 There's no I in team, like they
No.
say. I mean, we're a team, and you need to treat each other with respect and put each other out there, because I'm going to be pushing Joan out, and she's going to be pushing me out, and those are the things that not only does that make you feel good, but it's the proper way to treat your spouse.
No, respect and kindness and no ego. That's it. And the Bible says pride comes before the fall. So, I mean, you're definitely not going to get too far too smoothly with the ego. So I think that's great. That's great advice. Question for you guys that I think I know what you're going to say, because it may have come up earlier in this conversation. But if there was a season of 30 years of business together where you had a really tough lesson, maybe a season that you felt like almost even broke you, but it also built you at the same time. Do you guys have a season that you can think of when I say that?
Well,
2008.
yeah, I would say that the downturn of the market was devastating for us and for a lot of people, and a lot of agents that we knew who didn't make it through that time.
Not just agents, but
Builders,
builders,
a lot of
title people, lenders, all the people that we networked and worked with, all their business went away. Boise
Yeah.
got hammered during that time.
Yeah.
And we had a huge run up from 2000 to 2008, and then the whole world just fell off a cliff for Boise, Idaho, and so that was a hard time. We had to retool. We had to learn about doing short sales and working with people that didn't have any equity in their house, and their families were broken because the real estate crash hurt a lot of people. And just trying to support and work within a team that that knew that they had my back and our back, and we had their back, and that's how we built it back. But that was a hard time. I mean, it was 24/7 there for a while.
I think back to that season. I feel like I mean, of course, I was already learning to run a business and be an entrepreneur, if you will, or business owner. But as you guys are talking, I even just had like a bit of an epiphany myself that I think that season in this industry is what really turned me into a business owner, because you had to be a chameleon. You had to reinvent. You had to learn how to do short sales, how to have that conversation, how to do REO, right? And maybe even chase some of those accounts. And it really separated the men from the boys, if you will, that type of market. And then also what I thought you guys might say, and I think 2008, I mean, that's an amazing example, of course, but Joan, you shared earlier in the season that Doug was ill, that you had to get out of your comfort zone and step out and go out and be out in the field.
Right.
So I'm sure that was an extremely difficult season in a lot of ways, but also so cool how God uses seasons like that, because now you guys have become even more a dynamic real estate team and partnership over the last number of years since then, because you're so versatile now, right? Both of you can do both things.
Absolutely. And as Doug was talking about 2008, and I was thinking about other times in our lives that have been challenging. And I think when you've been married for 40 years, there's some point in that in your life where one of you is going to be ill or having some issues, or you know, experience. We've had multiple times where we've had deaths in our family, and as a matter of fact, we just had that recently. And those times, you have to lean into the other one, and just know that, I'm going to get a little emotional here, but know that that other person is there to lift you up.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah. I had a phone call a couple of weeks ago where I'd lost a family member, and it just was devastating to me. And Doug was right there when I took the call, and I knew that he had my back. You know, whatever I needed, he was there for me. So that's going to happen in your married life, whether you work together or not, but being able to support each other through those times, because there are tough times in marriages.
Not everything's
Not everything
peaches and cream.
Yeah.
In this world, you will have trouble. That's in the Bible also, but not.
Yeah.
Hey, as just to honor both of you guys as friends, I've seen it just walking with you guys as friends, specifically the last few years. I've already seen seasons where each of you guys have been there to support each other through different things, and it really is inspiring. It's beautiful. So thank you again for the example that you've set for so many of us in the industry and in marriage, but both at the same time. That's what One Life is all about. So thank you for that, guys. So let's round third and kind of bring this home. A question I have for you is about legacy. So the beautiful business, the relationships are thriving in business, outside of business. Now those have kind of just blurred the lines between the two. Of course, you know, your daughters, your marriage, all the things. But when you think about legacy, what do you hope your clients, friends, family will remember most about you guys when you think about legacy?
Oh gosh.
Do you want to tell them what you told me earlier today? What you want people to remember you for?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Good barbecue?
It's a mean brisket.
I said, Doug cooks a mean brisket.
Hey, there's a whole lot worse things somebody could remember you by, so.
I know, but I just want people to think back on Doug and Joan too, that we were honest, we were fair, and we treated them like they were our family, and wanted to help them achieve their goals. And you know what? The money comes. You've got to make a living, but the relationships. You know, we were looking through our database the other day, and we've got almost 2,000 people in there that have bought and sold homes. And you know, we can go back, and some of them way back in the waybacks. I don't remember all of them.
Yeah.
Joan does better than that, does better than I do. But for the most part, you know, when somebody says a name, the name may not remember, might not remember, but you remember that white house on the corner over off of Fairview and Cloverdale, you know, then it all comes back. And you said, yeah, that was the one where they got down to the end and they didn't have the home, and they didn't have the home warranty set up on that property. So we had to do that at closing.
Isn't it funny that the details that we can sometimes remember from a transaction?
Oh,
Yeah, they just come back out of nowhere. And
It makes Leslie mad though. She's like, "How can you remember that detail from a transaction 18 years ago, but you can't remember
all of them.
Joan's got a much better memory than I do, so I rely on that a lot, and thank the Lord for that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, you said honest, fair, kind, and something I'm going to paraphrase what you said. I think you want people to win. I feel that around you guys. Like you really do care about everybody in your life and you want them to win.
Yeah.
So I can attest to all the things you just said, Doug, that's what I would say about you guys. And I'm sure everybody else in your world would agree. Joan, were you going to add something?
I wanted to say too that Doug and Joan opened their home to their friends. Our home, our doors are always open, and we have a very welcoming. We have a small home. There's nothing fancy about it, but it's comforting, and all of our dear friends who share a meal with us, I hope they remember that.
Well, you don't need a huge home when you have a massive pasture and valley in your backyard. So, no, you guys are so blessed. It's awesome. So I want to end it this
We
way,
are.
guys.
That's real quick. Just I want to tell you how lucky we are. I've been lucky my whole life. We all have some things that go sideways in our lives, but
Hmm.
I was lucky with my parents. I was lucky with my family. I was lucky with the people that I met and the mentors and all those people that were there for us, that took a genuine interest
Mm.
to seeing that Doug's doing okay, and if he's not, I'll tell him what he needs to do to be okay.
Yeah.
And we've had people in our lives like that, and we appreciate you, Matt.
I love you guys too. And I'm not to take away what you said, Doug, but what I heard you say as you're saying it, what I'm hearing is God's hand on your life, his favor, his faithfulness, his
Yes.
provision. Like that's just a beautiful example of just God always looking out for us. So
Yep.
Yeah.
last question, guys. The whole idea of one life, so many people subconsciously might believe that it's either or. It's the marriage or the business. It's the thriving relationships with my kids or the business. It's my health and vitality, contribution, community, all the things or the business. I don't subscribe to that. I know you guys don't either. It's a both and. We can have it all. It takes systems and habits and disciplines and boundaries, and we got to build the business to support the life. That's what this show is all about. One Life Community is all about. So, in light of all that, if you guys were going to specifically close us out with a word of encouragement to the married couple, and again, whether or not each spouse is in the day-to-day business or not, we know in this business, the spouse is still in the business, right? When you sign up for real estate, it's definitely a couple thing.
Right.
What would be a final word of encouragement if you're speaking directly to the married couple listening to this?
I think I mentioned it before, and that's just to have respect for each other. I have an immense respect for Doug's knowledge and who he is, his person. I have, when he walks into a room and I'm on the other side of the room, my heart flutters. And
Oh, come on.
I'm serious. We've been
I love
married
it.
for 40 years, and when I see his face, it's like, oh, that's my husband.
Oh,
And I hope I never lose that.
I can't imagine you're going to 40 years later. Doug?
It's 40 years of having the most beautiful, best thing that ever happened to me walk into that room too. She compliments me. She makes sure that I stay on track, and she does it in a great way. She doesn't boss me around.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe,
Hey, we all need that, Doug.
but we all need a little course correction sometimes. But the best thing that ever happened to me was when she said yes, and that was just the start. And it has gone so fast. The things that you do that you enjoy. How fast they go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's this.
Yeah. And whatever
Well-
you can do to keep the spark in your marriage.
Yep.
I hope that all of the people who are listening who are married, that their hearts flutter when they see their spouse walk in the room.
I love it.
It's a great gift. It really is.
It really is.
It's beautiful.
So inspiring, so beautiful, guys. And what I'm also what I'm hearing as you guys talk is how much you put each other first. That's what I keep hearing you guys kind of allude to. Which
That's a great way to say it. Absolutely. You put the other person first, and it's first of all it's easy, and
Yeah.
second of all it's the right thing to do.
one of the
because
principles one of the principles we just leaned into at the marriage retreat we did was extreme ownership of your marriage, 100% mindset. So many couples treat marriage like 50-50, like, hey, I'll go halfway, you come halfway. That doesn't work. Like, what
No.
if Joan wants to take a day off and you only go 50%, Doug? Like, that's a formula for disaster, right? So, but you guys clearly each have a 100% ownership every single day, and you don't get to 40 years, let alone running a business for 30 of that together without 100% ownership. So, beautiful example, guys. Thank you, honor you, and grateful to call you guys friends. So thank you for being
Right back
with
at
me
you, Matt.
today. Hey, if people want to get a hold of you guys, we'll put some information in show notes, of course, but what's the best way for people to find you? Is it Facebook or Instagram or website, or what would you want people to do?
So they can go to our website, soldman.com. We're on Instagram, the Sold Man Team, or you can text
Heck,
us.
even check out the Boise barbecue guy. There's a lot of cool stuff on there too. So we have an Instagram account for that. So,
Awesome.
if you want some good cooking ideas, there's always a lot of stuff on there. We try to put those in our newsletters and our, when we send something out every month, when we send something out of value, we try to give something that somebody can do at home like that would be interesting to,
Yeah.
do for friends.
Well, market updates might not always get them coming back, but barbecue tips sure will, right? So
They absolutely do. We've done classes and had people over, and we actually did a Facebook Live where we cooked all day long and kept coming back about every half an hour about what we were doing and everything. And then at the end of the day, the people that were involved and joined on that, we had them put their name in. At the end of the day, guess who got the food? Those people that were involved in watching us that day. So it was pretty
That's
cool.
awesome. Very clever. Well, guys, thank you again for being here. So we're going to wrap it up there. To our audience, thank you again so much for giving us some time and listening to the One Life podcast, being part of our community. For the show notes to see how to connect with Doug and Joan, to learn about the real estate business there in Boise, we'll have all that at theonelifepodcast.com, theonelifepodcast.com. And I would encourage you to share this episode with somebody. Maybe maybe you are a young married couple, or you're thinking about, one of you leaving your career to join your spouse in business. Definitely listen to this again, share it with a friend in that same situation. We just want to get the word out of this podcast to encourage more people. So thank you so much. Please rate and review and share the podcast. I'd be grateful for that. And thanks again for listening. Doug and Joan, see you later.
Thank you. Thanks, Matt.
I hope this episode encouraged you today. Thank you for subscribing, sharing, and rating the podcast. It truly means the world to me. And be sure to visit theonelifepodcast.com to join our community. That's where you'll find updates on virtual meetups, special events, and more. And remember, God created you on purpose for a purpose. You don't have to choose between a life of significance and a thriving business. You were made for both. This is One Life.